He's the deal lawyer, and he's the certified coach. Find out what happens when these two professionals talk about universal questions and topics that require insightful answers. This week, the guys meet to talk about. This episode starts now. The phrase is, fake it till you make it. Now, on one hand, I can understand why you might think that's something good to do.
Yeah.
But I think, especially long term and from a behavioral perspective, I don't know that I really agree that fake it till you make it is a good thing.
My dad would always tell me, okay, stick your chest out, stand up straight, and exude confidence, because confidence in some way or another causes people to be attracted to you, and they may start believing what you're saying.
So if you look at the word fake up in the dictionary, you get words like counterfeit, sham, hoax, right? Not genuine, imitation.
Yeah.
And so we're saying fake it, in other words, pretend, in order to make it. So it almost seems to assume that there's already something wrong because you're having to fake it to begin with.
Yeah.
And so coming from a perspective of someone who encourages people and who knows that everybody has strengths and talents,
Right.
I'm not so sure that I would say, ignore those talents so that you can fake it, so you can present something that's not even real in order to try to bolster confidence.
Thinking as if, or thinking, okay, I'm going to not let them know I'm terrified, but yet stand tall and keep moving through it. I think it was extremely beneficial. And so if that is part of faking it till you make it, I'm okay with that.
And I think that's fair. And you said something like act as if.
Yes.
See, I like act as if because it has nothing to do with being fake. It's just saying you're just going to assume something. You're going forward in your thinking and assuming, hey, I'm going to act like I've been here before. So I'm okay with that. But the idea of faking now talks about pretending in some kind of way.
Yeah.
And so there I look at it and say, well, what are the insecurities? And I love that you brought up imposter syndrome because that really is a situation.
Yeah.
In fact, studies show that 70% of any executive has suffered with some version. And by the way, there's 5 different versions that we know of right now of imposter syndrome. Right? So perfectionism is one, the Superman thing, having to be the expert, the genius, and the rugged individual.
Right.
The rugged individual says, no, I don't need any help. Right, that's one way of being the imposter.
I've suffered from that before.
Yes. Another one would be the Superman. Well, I've got to be the one to do this. Well, why is it necessarily just you?
Right.
Why is it just by yourself?
Right.
The genius. Oh, well, if I can't figure this out right away, then there must be something wrong, and I've got to always stay smarter and ahead of everybody. So you put this pressure on yourself, and if you don't get something right away, then it offends your supposed genius thing. And then, of course, the perfectionist is already living in a world where he's going to set himself up for hurt because nothing's perfect. Everything.
Right.
So then if you take these to their fullest extent, that's you faking and creating this persona, which then will fall apart, which then makes you feel like an imposter, to which then if other people read that, they may say, well, I don't know that I want this guy to be my doctor, because do I want the guy who faked it till he made it in med school to be the one who actually is going to do this deal? So I agree that I like the idea that it's in the beginning you start thinking about how can I propel myself forward.
Right.
I think that's a positive. However, I think if you get good at doing nothing but faking till you make it, do you really learn anything?
Right.
And by the way, when I fake that I know stuff, I miss the opportunity to learn new things because people might be able to have something to share with me, but because I'm acting like I already know what I'm doing, they don't share. So I then miss some great valuable insight from somebody who's maybe been doing this for 20 years.
Yeah.
And I'm only doing this my first semester or season, but I miss it because I'm pretending like, no, I got that. Yeah, I understand that. Because I'm feeling like I need to show these people I have some sort of command or control. So initially I will say I agree, and I think where I probably kind of break off is I don't know that that's a good anecdote forever, because then I'm going to say, okay, well, what about your natural talents and strengths? When are you going to start engaging them? Because those are real, not fake.
Yeah.
And if you don't prime those strengths because you're used to faking it, then I think we then create a different problem, and I think it would lead to imposter syndrome.